Hey guys, I am back. I'm Amanda, and I have an anonymous guest today, special guest, but she's going to remain anonymous, who's going to talk with me about her experiences at Seneca Valley School District and with her children and her family. So, hi. I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry. We have tissues on hand. I'm sorry, babe. It's been hard. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
You take your time.
Okay.
You take your time. You don't have to rush through anything.
Okay. So just tell the experience of what.
Yeah, you can start at, or I can. How old are your kids?
They are 11 and 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've been in the district for how many years?
Since kindergarten. So for 10 years.
Wow.
Yep, 10 years now.
Okay. And when, tell me about your first experience or.
Yeah, the first experience was when our oldest son was in 6th grade, and he would be at recess, and he would have kids at recess be telling him, hey, Mexicano, you need to get out of here. You don't belong here. You're not from this country. I don't know what you're doing here. And it happened several occasions during recess, and my oldest son didn't really respond, but it was kind of like, okay, that was like, I'm not even Mexican. Like, just because my skin's brown doesn't mean I'm Mexican.
Right.
He is Latino, but it's just assumed you're Mexican because your skin's brown, I guess.
Right.
And happened several occasions. He actually never told us anything about it until about 4 or 5 months later after it happened, because he did not want to make a big deal about it. He felt awkward about it, and he just kind of kept it to himself. And then, one night at dinner, we were talking about different things, and it come out that he was like, well, yeah, when I was at recess, one of the kids there said, hey, Mexicano, you don't belong here. Hey, what are you doing here? And, it happened a couple days, couple different times.
Right.
But he just kind of kept it to himself and did not want to make a big deal about it.
It's so sad. My kids have gone through similar, where they didn't tell us. Our oldest son, actually, when he was in 6th grade last year, did not tell us what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice something was off about him, or his demeanor was a little different?
I definitely noticed during 6th and 7th grade, his demeanor was more not like him, where he would be more, usually he's outspoken and just, your regular quote unquote average kid.
Right.
And then, we noticed he kind of reclused a bit, just because kind of wait, what's going on? And that's where it was kind of okay, who are your friends? Who are not your friends? And why are they not talking to me? Or, I think he started to realize oh, wait, I'm not just 100% white person.
Right.
And I am a little different because we've never taught him any differently. Right. So yeah, and that's kind of when we talk, and even now to this day, we still check in. We're with both our kids, hey, how's everything going? Anything bad at school happened? Did your friends say anything mean? Was there any issues that happened? And, there's not been any saying such as hey, Mexicano, but there have been our oldest son again, in one of his shop classes at school, he'll get the table beside him, we poke him and prod him from the back, just kind of messing with him, and he's like, what are you doing? Because they're just kind of making fun of him. Yeah.
They're just targeting him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. So
that's not fun, I'm sure. I feel I wonder if he's even still, going through some of these things and just,
I do wonder that all the time. I wonder if both our kids do. We talk with them about it, and our youngest son, who's 5th grade at Erman Crest, he said nothing directly with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he does hear kids walking around in the hallways and stuff saying, monkey, or just, giggling and making fun of stuff like that.
Right.
He did say a couple months ago, actually, I'm just remembering, he had said one night at dinner, he's yeah, our school's really racist. And we were oh, it is? We thought he was joking. And he said to his older brother, and we thought he was joking. We're okay. we're like, he's like, well, yeah, because you hear the word monkey and stuff in the hallway and on the bus.
Right.
And we thought he was joking. And then that's whenever we tell your story on the news. And I was like, okay, wait. And literally we showed our oldest son that. And he goes, I actually, like, now I think about it, like, he was right saying
that this
school's racist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because, when we were looking to buy a house in Seneca Valley, I called the principal of Ermin Crest, Lori Pendred at the time, and I asked her, I said, do you have, it's your school, do you have racism that's prevalent in this district? She was like, no. She's like, your kids are going to be fine. She's like, we don't have that issue. And I was like, oh, great. I was like, please let me know. Right. I said, because I'll buy a house in a different district. I just want to make sure my kids are safe.
Yeah.
And I really would have appreciated honesty, because I think it is important when deciding where to put your kids. Like, it's very traumatic to go into Seneca Valley as a Black or brown student and hear that so often. Right. And then I even look at the white students as victims, because even if that's something that's not happening or being said in their homes,
they're around it at the school, right?
And they're being conditioned to think this is normal, this is okay. The cool kids say it, maybe I'll start saying it. Right. Or I've even seen where kids that are getting bullied will then like jump on the bandwagon and bully another child and start using some of that language.
Because they've learned it there at school. Yeah.
We had a family that came to, I had like this love rally last year when all of this kind of came out, and I was like, let's treat each other as we want to be treated. Like, I mean, we're Christians, and I just believe there's a lot of scripture on like love your neighbor and do unto others as you want to be done to you. So we had a family there that was very close with our son, like, and we really love them. I love them to this day. Sure. And, they came and rallied with us, and then we found out that their son was actually going along using these words.
Oh, no.
And when I approached his mom on it, she was like super mad at me, because like I knew like Amari had told me like he had said stuff, and I was like, well, all right, they came to the rally, maybe they had a conversation about it, or maybe he realized it was wrong,
right?
Because I didn't believe that.
Right, like why would they show up like that?
I was like, they're not a racist family.
It's not a reflection of the parenting. It's a reflection of the school.
It's a reflection of the school, right. And it's unfortunate because like we've never really had a conversation since then. She was kind of uneasy about it.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because then
it breaks up the friendships. Yeah. And you're in a small community, that's what you're supposed to be, is the community.
100%.
Right.
And I really feel like Seneca Valley's lack of support as a district has made it very uncomfortable obviously for Black and brown families to speak up, but for white families to speak up, because then they are, just pushed out.
They want to get involved in it.
Nobody wants to get involved.
Well, like I told you earlier, it's hard for me to even come here and do this, because it's like, do you go to HR and report, hey, this is issues happening at work? It's the same thing as the school district. It's like, hey, do you actually go and report this? Is it going to make it better or worse? And still at this point, obviously I'm anonymous, and I don't want my face out there because I don't want it to get worse.
Right.
Right. But it's not right that it is there and happening.
I know. And have you gone to the school at all and told them anything directly?
I've not.
So many families have not. And I will tell you, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but in our experience, this has been going on for several years. We went to the school quietly for the first several incidences. Nothing changed. And then we went to the school and went public. Nothing changed. And we were on the news and nothing changed. And we held rallies and nothing changed. And more people wrote emails and nothing changed.
What do you need to do to get it to change?
Yeah, it's what do you need to do is right. That's a really like important question that I would love. I mean, I went to the school board. It hasn't changed.
Right.
I tried to meet with the superintendent. I've sent her a dozen emails. I'm not sure why our children, and I know that there are other kids who experience bullying in the district.
Absolutely.
People that I've had Asian families reach out to me. I've had gay and lesbian families reach out to me and say that their kids are literally thrown, like food is being thrown at them. And then just, white children that are being bullied for maybe it's weight or size or whatever it is. And it's just, why is this culture of this district
allowed to bullying continue?
Why is it continuing? I feel like it's a really simple fix like, this is our house. We don't allow this behavior. If you want to behave like this, you go in cyber and you go home and you do cyber school from your house with your parents.
Not the flip side of here you've had the issue, not you've had the bullying happening to your kids, and now you've had to adjust and change your whole life because
But it's convenient for them. They've not even, when we notified them that we were pulling our kids out, there was not one like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, the teachers, but not from the administrators. Like,
the administration.
You know what? We dropped the ball here. You guys should not have to leave over this. Like, we're going to make a change. Nothing.
Right. Or we're going to provide education and tools and resources for the staff and kids and how to deal with this instead of just not doing anything.
Right.
So.
And they know that the parents are, out of fear, most parents are going to stay silent, especially if you just stay here.
Right. Well, hopefully this will help others see, like, you could still speak up without speaking.
Yes, I agree. So how has this been for you as a mom? Like, how are you dealing with it? How are you coping with it?
So that's hard. That's where I get emotional. Like, you hate to see your children go through this and know that, like, it's hard for them to know that, like, they're going to have this their whole life. Like, oh, let's call it Mexicano in 6th grade. Like, those are sadly core memories that stick with you.
Right.
Where we've come from and what we try to at least keep at home and teach our children is, like, just because you're different doesn't mean you can't still go to a good college and still get really good jobs, and you can still have that equality.
100%. Right. 100%.
So that's part of what we try to still encourage. But it's hard. It's like, you don't want to see your babies coming home and like, oh yeah, somebody said this today or this happened today. And, like that's hard enough to say to an adult, let alone a 6th grader who's going through hormones and changes and trying to prepare for life. And
absolutely.
It's very hard. I do think there's, even like with my younger son, who's at least told me he's not had any issues, I still think that he has insecurities because he does look different, and like that's fine. He looks different, but he's beautiful how he is.
100%.
And so but like, there's times where he'll want to wear different like style clothes or have his hair a different way. So that I kind of think it's like subconsciously where he doesn't want to stand out as, the Mexican or whatever that he's not.
And tell me where your family's from.
From Guatemala.
Guatemala. Okay.
Yeah. So they're Indigenous Mayans, which are not even technically Latinos. They're Indian.
That's amazing.
So they're.
And I think that would be like, from a school standpoint, like it would be a great education opportunity.
It'd be a great cultural, education is key. Have cultural experiences, exactly.
Like, why are we raising ignorant students that like can do calculus but don't know anything about culture and the rest of the world
and the geography of it? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we've been fortunate enough that our children have stamps in their passports where we travel internationally, and they've seen that, so they welcome it. And I know there's definitely a culture here in Cranberry Township and at the school that does welcome that, but there's definitely a lot less than where we're at 2025.
I know. I do feel like I never want to like paint the entire district as being like racist, because there's a lot of really good people. There's good people that have had our backs. I'm sure a lot of good friends that your kids have.
Absolutely.
But the toxic population of like
racial slurs and continuing. Exactly.
It's like that. It's just like it needs to be
not tolerated.
Exactly.
Right.
And I don't understand. I've talked with parents. A lot of people of color move out of the district is what I'm finding. Mm-hmm. And whether they're going to like private schools or they just move completely into a new district, they're saying that like St. Killian's, for instance, like Catholic schools, apparently like they don't have this issue.
Right. They don't tolerate it.
Yeah, they do not tolerate it. And I'm like, well, if they can do it,
so come Seneca Valley.
Yeah, like maybe our superintendents and principals and school board might need to have a meeting.
Right.
Unless this is their thing, Right.
Unless this is they don't want to fix it.
Yeah.
You hope that they would. They're
And honestly, if this is their thing, I would rather them have to like notify people like, we allow racism to happen here.
Right, or like when you call, be honest.
Yes,
of like,
be honest.
you might not want to move here because we try to control it, but don't move here
but we
because
don't,
it exists.
Exactly.
Right.
So then, hey, you guys can stay to yourselves, and maybe, you know, the state will have to, you know, and government can consider how they want to, you know, what do they want to do with funding.
Exactly.
Because I don't think an institution should receive funding, especially from Black and brown families whose kids are being tormented day after day.
Exactly.
It's just, and bullying, it's a problem, you know, nationwide. There are answers to this aside from like
Aside
gun
not
control.
doing nothing.
Yeah, not doing
Right.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing nothing is not a response.
Yeah. Did you tell your kids you were coming today?
I did not. I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my kids. I just don't. It drums up emotions.
Yeah.
And I do not want that to come out with, you know.
I don't blame you.
If it's needed or at the right time. But at this moment, we just, you know, it is happening. It is real. And that way you are aware, and everybody else too. So
I really appreciate you speaking up.
Yeah.
If you had the ability to go, you know, if you could stand before the board right now and say one thing to them, what would you say? If like you knew that it wouldn't affect your kids?
Probably something along the lines of like, be a professional about it. You know, there's a lot of diversity in this world, in the city. I'm part of that in the professional world, and it's out there. So get the education and resources and
100%.
and fix it. It doesn't need to continue to be like this, but it starts with them to make those executive decisions.
I agree. And it's not going to hurt anyone. It's not going to like take from the white population. It's not going to steal from their kids. And like, it's just only going to make all of us stronger.
Right. Right.
That's the only thing I could possibly think of, like why.
Yeah. Be stronger and be past it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's all. Yeah.
I think you did amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.
I think God willing, if you know, just even change one heart, that's the goal. Then just at least one.
Right.
So thank you.